I'm laughing as I'm about to say this because I'm laughing as I'm about to say this. Sorry. I'm laughing as I'm about to say this because when I hear other creators start with this sentence, in my mind, most of the time, I'm like, no one's asked you that. So it feels ironic that I'm doing this, but nevertheless, it's actually true. One of the questions I get asked all the time, and I actually like this question, is how do I work across so many different, what feels like, so like, how am I involved in so many different things? Now, if you see my video that I'm posted on the 1st of July, I hope that explains or gives you a little bit more context. And if you haven't, please go and watch it. And then I hope that adds enough information there. But essentially, there's two reasons why I can do the things that I get to do. One is, if you think of the wheel and spoke theory, at the core of everything that I do is gender equity, and the ability to address systemic barriers in that space looks very different on the surface. But beneath that are different organizations, different individuals struggling to get to the same point, which is fundamentally, how do I build better cultures? How do I lead in a more successful, dynamic way without having to sacrifice all of who I am, values, integrity, and also energy? How do I then build that kind of culture going forward for others within my organization? Or how do I start something that serves me, and as I begin to expand to my team, my team members? Because what you can sacrifice as a founder and the risk reward profile is very different as to what you can expect your, let's say, your number 10 employee to want to give, and also what they will receive. So that's all to say, I like the question because part of my fundamental belief as an individual is that I believe we are all multifaceted, especially as women. We get taught to dig into one thing. It's always focus on this niche, do one thing, be one thing. But actually, I believe in recognition of our multifacetedness, we're able to do a lot of things by being able to thread together the different pieces of materials, but still something that has the same or a very similar problem. It's just that the execution might need a little bit of tweaking. And the reason why I'm saying all of this is that it's an encouragement, and I hope it turns out to be an encouragement, to say there are so many more things that you can do. And if you feel that pull, that you want to do those things, please, please, please explore it. Because a lot of the times what leads to our frustration, whether you are an entrepreneur, an employee, just in general, is when we deny one of our dimensions in favor of what other people think we should be doing, what they think we should be doing. And it's been a privilege to be able to do this, what I do now, which is live in my multifacetedness. And I'm not going to say it hasn't taken sacrifice and it hasn't taken courage. And it's not sometimes a challenge when you're the only person who can necessarily see the vision. I can't deny any of those challenges, because it is very difficult, because a lot of times, because we've all been taught the same thing, you should do one or two things maximum. A lot of people will have a challenge trying to figure out who you are when you decide to live and embrace your multifacetedness. However, on the upside, despite those challenges, I can honestly say it gives you an element of freedom of being able to explore, because once you see the fundamental challenges across a space, across a sector, across many sectors, you can then start to pull on all of your expertise in being able to cross-pollinate and leverage your expertise and things that you're seeing in real time to serve a broader crowd rather than a smaller crowd. And I always come back to one of the first, I think it's the first sentence in my book. I'm gonna check that. But you know, context is everything. And if you give yourself the space to be able to see many contexts, you give yourself the space to be powerful in so many other spaces. So this is essentially my encouragement to say, go and be your best multifaceted self, because you will not regret it. Despite the challenges of understanding sometimes, it will be absolutely worth it.